Hi guys, this is Hell Hades, and this is another Raid Shadow Legends video. So what I want to do in this video is just talk through the Clanboss attack down champions. So attack down is probably the single most important ability you can cast on the Clanboss to enable your champions to survive longer into the fight. Um, I'd say once you're onto brutal Clanboss level, if you don't have somebody with attack down, then it dramatically affects how long you can last and the sort of numbers that you can pull and whether you're going to get those top chests or not. So for me, there's a number of really good champions, and I'll run through. I've actually got a few of them, which is useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through the different ones that I've got, and then I'm going to do a run with each of the ones which I think are strong. Show you the numbers that I've got with the rest of the team being the same, and yeah, just give you a bit of a comparison really. So let's start with Jareg. So Jareg is an epic. Um, I'd say he's one of the stronger epics in the game for Clanboss, if not the strongest. If we run through his skills quickly, so A1 attack down. What I'm looking at here is champions that have got an A1 attack down. That's the important thing. It means they can constantly go in and recast it without the fear of it dropping off. So he takes quite a lot of books, but once you get him up to fully booked here, you've got 60% chance to lay a decrease attack for 2 turns. So 2 turns is good because there's always a chance that you're going to miss, get it resisted. So it's always nice to have it up for 2 turns go. One of the reasons why I really like Jareg is for this ability. So he's got the ability to cast ally protection and increase defense for all of your champions for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. So that's actually really strong. Increased defense is probably the best kind of support utility you can get really. He's then got a really nice passive which places an extra heal, so it's the same sort of heal that you get from a bad L, but only 1 tick instead of 2. So he places a heal anytime one of your champions lose 20% of their max HP in 1 hit. So that becomes really strong towards the late game of a Clanboss fight. And then he does have an aura which affects all battles, so it is relevant for Clanboss, and it's a high level increased HP. So actually if I find, see if I've got another increased HP epic, here's one. So if we look here, he gets 29%, whereas Jareg gets the HP level and more consistent with a legendary. So 33, I'll show you another one here, Sanisha, 31. So if you see his is higher than I think pretty much any other epic in the game. Then when I go to a legendary and look, that's faction wars, it's slightly different. I think that's the only one I've got to show you actually. But yeah, anyway, it's a strong ability compared to most other epics for Clanboss. So what I've done is I've got him geared in good speed gear, so tuned actually for Ultimate Nightmare Clanboss, but we're going to run it in Nightmare. And I've just built him up with really high HP because he's a HP based champ, and a reasonable level of defense, good accuracy, so he lands his abilities pretty much every time I do it. In terms of masteries, I've actually got him set for arena, so what I'm going to do is cut here, redo his masteries and come back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I've redone his masteries. He's a single hit A1, so I've gone with War Master. This is a pretty standard line really for Clanboss, and then there's a few variations of a theme here, and then we've just built him so that he's got naturally good accuracy, gains a bit more from the book there for his speed gear, and I built him with Sniper so he gets a 5% better chance of landing that ability as A1. So that's Jareg. Second one I want to cover is Tayrel. Tayrel's really well known in the game, probably was known as the epic that you want to get. I'd say he's got very different utility to Jareg, but I'd say he's probably on a par in usefulness in the Clanboss. So he has got skills. So again, an A1 decreased defense. He booked goes up to 60% as well, but he actually hits twice. So sorry, it goes up to 50%, but he hits twice. So he's got a really strong chance every turn of landing that ability. He's also got a decreased defense. So if you're not running something like a Razin, then he becomes pretty valuable because you actually start hitting harder with your War Master and Giant Slayer procs on that. And then this ability is actually useless in the Clanboss. So it's actually a really good ability elsewhere, but just for Clanboss, it's useless. You would never use it unless it's on auto. His aura is strong, so again it's in all battles, plus 25% for defense. Defense aura is probably the preference if you can get defense aura in Clanboss, because defense scales better against the sort of Nightmare and Ultimate Nightmare Clanboss fights versus HP. So again, so I built him up to be high defense, over 4k, nearly 4.3k here. Same sort of speed as Jareg, so again we're looking at making sure we're in Ultimate Nightmare Clanboss speeds. Good accuracy, so he lands that ability first time each time. So I'd say they're actually on a bit of a par with each other. I've tried to make it fairly fair for when we see the fights. The next one I'm going to show you is Lightsworn, and he has been built in a similar sort of way, so around 4k defense, speeds which are suitable for Nightmare Clanboss, 220 accuracy, so we're looking at similar sort of setup. He's actually in lifesteal gear, but that's not, I've not put him in that for any reason other than it was the best gear to make this work. So he doesn't have the attack down on his A1, and that's where he falls down really. This ability is useless on the Clanboss other than it's a free hit A1, which is quite nice for Giant Slayer. You get more damage on his A1 than you would the other two guys. So his attack down comes on his A2 on a 3-turn cooldown. That's probably where this champion falls down. So it lands for 2 turns, it's on a 3-turn cooldown, which basically means you need him lapping the Clanboss to keep this on, or you need a debuff extender to keep this on. But where Lightsworn sort of comes up trumps with utility is he does have an increased defense, so you can continuously put that on a 4-turn cooldown. And actually he's also got a revive on death. And Lightsworn was my only attack down champion for a long time. I'd had no luck pulling a Tayrel at all. And this was actually pretty clutch to keep me running through longer fights and just to keep the damage sort of pouring in. So it's actually not to be underestimated, but that being on A2, the attack down is the difficulty with Lightsworn. In terms of masteries, so I've gone typical sort of Clanboss setup, so you always want to follow this kind of diagonal line down, and then you either go diagonal right into Giant Slayer if it's a 3-hit or 4-hit A1, or straight down if it's a 1-hit A1. And then on the support side, I've basically done things which improve the duration of his buffs on his team, and a chance to extend the duration of debuffs on the Clanboss. So that's why I've taken this path. This is quite nice as well. You've got a chance of just randomly getting one of your cooldowns reduced. So where he's on that the 4-turn cooldown, he might actually get that reduced to 3 turns a couple of times during a Clanboss fight. So he's the third one I will look at today, and then the last one is Altan. So Altan is a legendary, so much harder to get. He's got a decreased attack on his A1, which actually booked goes to a 75% chance, so really strong chance there. It's a single hit. His A2 gives us an increased defense. It also gives us a shield, but that's actually not for Clanboss. That's only if he kills an enemy, so that's irrelevant for this fight. The nice thing here is him putting his shield on actually hits the enemy, so you still get your damage hit. A lot of the champions that put a shield on, they don't do it by hitting an enemy. So that's quite a nice addition here, and it's on a 3-turn cooldown, which is better than, let's say, the Lightsworn and what have you. His passive is irrelevant for Clanboss, but nice for Arena. And then he's got an ally defense of 33%. So if we compare that to Tayrel's quickly, Tayrel's was on 25%. So again, being a legendary, it kind of just steps him up. He gets another 8% for your team, so gives him a bit of an advantage there. In terms of masteries, geared it very similar to what you saw with Tayrel. So we followed this path down, and then I've actually chosen a defense tree here, so he gets a chance to counter attack if he gets hit with this one, and these are just defensive masteries which I use for Clanboss. So we've got 4 champions. I think they're probably maybe 4 of the 5 best champions with attack down in the game, so I'm quite lucky to have them. What I'm going to do is actually get into 4 different Clanboss fights. So I'm going to set them up. Let's go into Ultra. I'm going to set them up and just let them run auto, each of them. I'm going to take out my Vizier because I don't want it to be skewed by the fact that Vizier can just continuously enhance their the length of their debuffs. Then we'll get a better gauge for which is the better one. So instead I'm going to throw in, perhaps I'll throw in a Nephral. Oh no, I won't actually. I'll throw in Steel Skull if I can find him. Yeah. So I want to make it closer to being more relevant to what other people might have. So I'm going to take out him as well because I think as well that's just going to sort of skew the numbers. And I'm going to throw in, perhaps we'll throw in a Tomb Lord. No, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll throw in a Apothecary. So hopefully that resembles. I know Bad Elf's still strong, but I'm going to leave him in because actually he's my healer. I don't have Lifesteal Deer on here. What we should find. Actually, I'm going to put Tomb Lords and I've got the poisons ticking. Yeah, so this is my 5. I'm going to run the same 5 for all 5 of those attack downs, just changing the lead. Literally just going to go in and hit auto. And then what I'll do, so I'm going to cut in between each of these, and I'm just going to sort of cut to the final numbers. Okay, so here we have it. I let that run on auto. We've done 15.85 million. I think in hindsight, Tomb Lord's a really poor character to put into this, but it doesn't matter. All I wanted to show you was individually what damage is Altan doing, and as this team, what damage has the team done. So I'm going to record these numbers and basically give you a list at the end of the content. So he's done 15.85 million, and the team lasted 8.37 minutes. Okay, so let's edit this team out. Switch out Altan, just throw Tayrel straight in there in the leader spot so that he's basically just doing the same thing. Can't see Tayrel, so let's go with Jareg instead. So again, I'm just going to let it run on auto. Yeah, and run this through. Catch back up with you in a second. Okay, so round 2, Jareg was the leader. We've come in at 6 minutes 40 with this one, 11.11 million damage. So yeah, considerably less than Altan. That's kind of what I would have expected really. But it just shows you, in terms of his personal damage, 1.2 million versus Altan that was in the 4 millions. So that's a big chunk of the difference here between the damage we've seen for the overall content and the damage we've seen between the 2 fights. So there we go. I'm just going to grab a couple more keys that I have got sitting here, ready for this exact feature. So we're going to go again. So this time I'm going to find Tayrel. Where are you hiding, Mr. Tayrel? Here we go. Same thing again, guys. Going to run it through and cut to the end, and we'll see where Tay sits compared to these two. Okay, so we have got Tayrel finishing here. So Tayrel did a personal damage of just about 2.7 million, somewhere in between the two that we've just seen. Team damage was 13.5 million, and they managed to last just over 7 minutes, 7.17. So that's 3 of the 4 done. I'm just going to show you one more, which is Lightsworn. He doesn't have the leader ability, which makes this a little bit more difficult to run, but I'm going to run it as if I throw him in that leader spot anyway, because I really just want to show you how they all fare against each other. I would say if Lightsworn is your only option of an epic attack down, he's a good choice because you need attack down. I think we're going to find here that this falls off pretty quickly because unless you've got a debuff extender, he's probably not your choice that you want to go with. But let's see how it runs. Again, I'm just going to throw it on auto. I just want it to be a completely fair sort of setup, and yeah, catch you again in a second. So just coming in a bit early here, just wanted to say really, if you look at the time that we're up to, we are up to 4 minutes 40, and basically what happened was Lightsworn's decreased attack got resisted, and because it's on such a long cooldown, it's actually meant that the next wave, basically he got wiped. And just shows how important having that attack down on an A1 is, because when you're in Ultimate Clanboss, even Nightmare Clanboss really, if you don't have that attack down on the Nightmare Clanboss, then he's just going to wipe your team. So it's probably going to come to an end relatively soon now. And yeah, just because of the amount of time that we've been in the fight, I would just imagine that this is going to be probably by a fair way the worst fight that we've had. But let's just see the final numbers come in. I guess as well, to be fair, Lightsworn, I used Lightsworn for a long time in my early game, and he's probably a better champion to use when you're manualing, because you can choose when you want to put the ability to be unkillable on everybody, and also you're watching to see when you need that attack down to go on. But here we go. So I actually came in similar to Jareg. That's surprising. So he's done himself 1.38 million. Damage was 11.6, and that lasted 5 minutes 55. Okay, so that shows you the 4 different champions running with the same team. What I'm going to do here is just throw up a kind of summary table in a second. But before I do that, I just want to go into, I guess, a couple of honorary mentions of champions which I don't have or don't use, which have this same skill. So firstly, if you're early to mid game and you're looking for an attack down champion but you don't have any of those ones I've just shown you, there is an orc. He's an orc rare called Veteran. What a mighty looking fellow he is. Yar, you pirates, and all that stuff. But if you look here, so on his A1 he's got an attack down, and it's the A1 that you're looking for. So if he was booked, he'd actually have a 50% chance of laying that attack down on, which is pretty good. And he's defense based, so you can build him so that he's going to last. The rest of his kit is weak, if I'm honest. It's pretty weak, but it doesn't really matter. He does have a speed aura, but it doesn't work for Clanboss, so that's not going to help you there. But he's only about this. So if you do not have an attack down champion right now, get yourself a veteran, level him up to 60, put him in some defense gear, and he will do the job. He will get you a better overall result than you not having an attack down champion. So honourable mention there. And Padma is one more. So this is a champion that seemed to be pretty... it was used pretty highly, I think, in a lot of high-end clans for a while. So someone else with a decreased attack on their A1. The decreased attack basically will go on if she hits a critical hit. So booked 100%. So actually the only champion we've got in the list with a 100% chance. The damage scales off defense and attack. So actually if you can build her quite tanky, then she can do some damage as well. She's also void. Why that's so critical is it means that when you change affinity, so if you're all of a sudden fighting the green affinity clan boss, she's just as effective as when she's fighting the void clan boss. So actually pretty good, but if you look at her other abilities, they are not particularly relevant. Actually, don't say that. This A3 does remove the buff when you go into a different affinity clan boss. It does remove the buff from the clan boss as well. So all in all, actually, a pretty good champion. The only challenge that I found with trying to build a Padma is that to get her crit high enough, sometimes you have to substitute out some of your defense, which means it's harder to get. You need better gear, basically. It's harder to get her in the right gear to make her continuously put this decreased attack on. So she would be an honourable mention. And one more, it's another champion I don't have who's an undead, who is the Crypt King. So Crypt King, he's a support champion. He's got good base stats, really high base speed actually. Again, he's got a decreased attack on his A1, 60% chance. So it's only a 1 hit and 60%, which is what would put me off him if I had him. I probably wouldn't use him anyway. But he does have a HP burn, which is good. That ticks for a higher amount than poison. And yeah, I mean, this one doesn't really come into account for Clanboss, but again, he's got a bit more utility there. He does have a HP build in all battles, so again he'd be okay to use as a leader. So yeah, so he'd be an honourable mention. So what I want to do now is just kind of summarise the different damage points that we've done there within that fight, and just rank those 4 different champions from 1 to 4. Okay, so just to go through the overall kind of table once I've thrown it into some charts. So what I've done here is just put in team damage, individuals damage within that fight, and then how long they stayed alive as a team. And I think we've got a pretty clear winner here out of my characters. So Altan is who I would rate in the game as the #1 attack down. That's why I use him as my actual attack down champion in my team. I'd say Tayrel is kind of widely respected as a really good epic for an attack down champion, and in this set of fights he came in second. I'd say Jareg is actually probably better than this stat says, but he requires a better team to be around him to really make him have an impact. So as you get better champions, I'd imagine Jareg will start to build up closer to Tayrel. But it comes in third place, and then Lightsworn, as we saw in the videos there, came in last place, and I think he would always come in last because he doesn't have attack down on his A1. He'll always come in last unless you've got an extender to support him. So I hope that was useful. I certainly realised early on that attack down is the way to extend this Clanboss fight, and yeah, these are 4 of the champions that could really help you do that. Okay, I've been Hell Hades. This is a YouTube channel addicted to gaming. Thank you very much.